I'm Wilson Lai, and you're listening to Deep Cut. On Deep Cut, we usually compare a director's most popular film with a personal favorite chosen by one of us. We also discuss that director's life and career to bring in context that helps us view their movies as they may want us to. If you're enjoying the show, please rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. Better still, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or comment on episodes directly on Spotify. If you'd like to share a message with us, feel free to drop us an email at hello@deepcutpod.com. You can also find us at deepcutpod.com to find links to our socials, Discord, and Patreon. Welcome to the third episode of my series on interviews that I did at this year's 50th Hong Kong International Film Festival. If you haven't heard my interviews with directors Mary Stephen and director Ildiko Enyedi and star Tony Leung, please check them out. Those are the two previous episodes. Today, I'm going to introduce an interview with a filmmaker that I really, really admire. This is Singaporean filmmaker Ang Geck Geck, who was at the festival this year with her directorial debut feature film, A Girl, which is set in the 90s. It is an autobiographical film about the titular A Girl and her younger sister, who are young girls who are dealing with big adult situations and adult emotions as their parents are figuring out a separation. This was a very moving film, and I was so lucky to be able to catch it and also to interview director Geck Geck about this film. We talked about her personal history, the long journey it took to get to make this film, and how she casted and worked with these young actresses playing these girls, playing these sisters. So without further ado, here is my interview with director Ang Geck Geck. I'm here with filmmaker Ang Geck Geck, who is presenting her feature film debut, A Girl, at this year's Hong Kong International Film Festival. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me here, Wilson.
So you just had your screening here in Hong Kong to massive success. I saw the video with the huge line of people waiting to get you and this film star's autograph. How was it presenting your film at the festival this year?
It's pretty exciting. I usually try not to have too much expectation because I'm already very happy that I get to screen my film in Hong Kong. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to start from the very beginning. I want to ask about what inspired you to make A Girl.
Okay. A Girl is actually my personal story. And when I started writing it, it was many years ago, almost a decade, 12 years ago. When I was writing 12 years ago, and that period, it was really hard to get a producer, but I managed to get a really, really good producer in. And I waited for him for 2 years. But unfortunately, in 2019, when I was supposed to make the film, his company got into some issues. So he has to drop my project. And that period of time, I was actually going to a very... I think when he told me the news, I was really, really down, because after waiting for 2 years and then, finally he decided to take my project. And it was just very disappointing, and I was in a dark hole for a period of time. It took me a while to get out, and I told myself, okay, the only thing that I can do now is to improve on my script. So I told myself okay, I will do more deeper research to better the script. Then I went in to talk to a few family counselor, and a few how do you call it? Basically in Singapore, there's family services, right?
So social work.
Yeah, social worker. Because I wanted to get a more real story. And even though the stories are mostly based on my childhood, but I didn't want to just write a film that is all about me, but I wanted to understand more so that, I can make the film bigger than myself. It was a difficult process because I have changed like many producer. I think in total like 5 or 6, and I got rejected so many times. Mostly all the producers in Singapore, because the script is actually too simple, to be honest. And family drama, it's like a very common theme. To how do you justify like this film will be different from other family film? So that's why it was like very, very hard to get like a producer. Even though some producers show interest, they had a hard time trying to raise money. So after a while, they give up on the film until I met Charlene. And then like Charlene was a last man standing. I keep telling everyone, Charlene was the last man standing. And then she will always laugh. We managed to make the film. But then before that, I was like telling myself, because it has been 10 years, I told myself, maybe it's time to let go. I try hard enough. Something I think you shouldn't hold on for too long. Even though I'm those kind of person who usually doesn't give up that fast. But it has been 10 years. It's fair enough for me to just drop and then move on to other project. Then, miracle happened, and then somehow they just, somehow, somewhere the mighty powers just say, no, you can't drop the project, you have to continue. So I got a IMDA grant. It's a government grant from Singapore. That's how, in the end, I managed to, make it happen.
Wow, that's an incredible story for an incredible film. I'm wondering, in that 10 years where you're sitting on this script and you're, I guess, slowly working at it because you have nothing else to do besides work on the script, right? Were there any things that came to light in those more extensive research that you did, their interviews with therapists and social workers, that was prominent in the final film?
So, what's funny? While I'm doing research to get more insight, case study, I ended up getting counseled. I think in the process, I was also trying to find myself, why I write this script and what is it for and who am I writing for? It was really interesting because I get to know myself more, and then the script grow together with me while I'm also healing myself.
And you think the process of making this film, shooting it, maybe reliving parts of your childhood there, do you feel like that was also part of this healing that you went through?
Yeah, so I told myself I don't want to relive the pain in the past, but I want to empower the child in me, the child who has no voice, and also giving some sort of emotional truth and hope to people. So it's me looking at myself, asking myself, what would I tell my younger self, And that's so powerful. And also, I think being a child, most of the time, parents don't really take you seriously because they think you're a child. And there were many things that I wanted to, tell the adults, but most of the time, they don't really listen. So that's why I shaped my film in a way that, though it's quite true to my own personal experience, I kind of create certain scene in the film that what if my parents has made a different decision? Because I know it's really tough for me to tell them, right, as a child. Even now, growing up as an adult, how do you even talk to your parents? So one day, maybe when they watch the film in Singapore, they will look at it and oh, okay, things might be different. Yeah.
Have they seen it yet?
No, we haven't screened it in Singapore yet. And honestly, I will be I think I will be quite nervous about it. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I haven't spoken to my mother for a long time. For my father, I see him. I will see him because of my grandparents. Yeah, but we don't really talk. You see, Asian parents, typically we don't really communicate.
Yeah. Would you say that it is quite close to the story of the film where your parents are separated and you're having to choose between living with your dad and your grandma or your mom? Was that a dilemma that you had when you were a kid and that's what you had to go through?
I think it was really difficult having to basically maybe it's also fun at the same time because like, weekday and weekend you get to spend time with your parents at different places. But it's only hard when, like they have like new partner because then you need to adapt to like a new person in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After some time as a child, because like you also like adapt very fast. So you learn to accept and cope with it also.
One of the things I really loved about your film is that you don't really dumb down the children. I work at a primary school. I work with 6 and 7-year-olds. That's my day job. And they are like really smart little beings. They're really smart kids. And I love how your film sort of just gave room for your kids to really just be themselves and have them understand that like the complex things in life. I was wondering, when you were working with your child actors, did they fully understand what was going on? Like how would you like direct them on set?
Actually, I didn't do much work on set. Most of the pre-work was done like during workshop.
Okay. What did that look like?
So we conducted workshop for like at least 3 months. And then we have like 3 teachers because, in Singapore, most of the kids speak English. That's one. Language is, because this is a Mandarin film, right? Yes. And I wanted it to keep it as like authentic to my childhood. So we actually hired like another teacher from Taiwan to learn how to like speak proper Mandarin. That's one. And also she's also a acting coach, which I wanted to learn more from her so that it can help me to do better when I'm like directing the kids. And then me, myself, will get involved interacting with the kids and observing them. During the workshop, we do a lot of play rather than, like make them work. So we design in a way that is similar to the scene, but it's not at all the same. And then we somehow make them able to come out with certain lines, even though it's in the script, but in their own way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not really following the script exactly, and then trying to get the emotion out from them using a different scenario.
I think it really comes across, especially with your film's main star. I don't know her name, but the girl that plays Ang Geck Geck, your younger version of yourself, she is jumping off of this screen. She is so incredible. I want to ask, where did you find her, and like, was that energy already there before you called action?
Actually, I met her a few times before. And anyway, we did casting for 1 year. So when the first time I saw her, she was too young. She couldn't really perform. It was only after like sometime later, then I tried to recast her again. And the second time when I recast her, it was away from her parents because we didn't really have a very conducive place to do casting. So second time we recast everyone, and then we did in the private setting, means it's only me and the casting person and the actor without any parents around. Then I see the potential in her. Sometimes it's also like them coming into the room and then you feel the vibe and whether this person can really like hit off with you very well. It's all about the chemistry. So I can say that for Sydney, the Atian. Okay. Wow, her energy is really like fantastic. Like the moment she came in, it's like, oh my God, I would be laughing away. And this is like something that I think would be like, she had this X factor that will draw the audience. So she was really young. Like back then when I was casting her, she was 3.5 or 3 years old. Then for Xuan Jing, it's really more of her, not really casting for a kid that trying to act like somebody. It's also casting a kid who's like the character in the film. So they don't really have to do like a lot of acting. They are just being themselves. And also Xuan Jing, you see her, she's also very observant as a kid. Like she's always looking at me and like she talks like me on set. So it's quite interesting. And that's not coming from me. It was like coming from the crew who, interact with her and say, wow, she's really like you. So I guess it's really like, use her personal experience and also like her character, how she is like as a person to bring out role in the film, to make it better. So sometimes I will readjust the script in a way that feels like it's more natural coming from her than following the script exactly. Yeah. So there's more flexibility when it comes to like, performing.
One of my podcast co-hosts, Ben, is from Singapore. He lives in Singapore. And one of the big complaints he has about a lot of Singaporean movies is that the switch of languages is not very like accurate to what Singaporeans are usually talking. But I felt like, I can't speak for him, but I felt like with this film, you have a very natural blend of Mandarin and English. And I'm wondering about how you came about that, what lines you decide to have your characters say in English, and what supports, that kind of decision making.
In Singapore, we speak English in school, and then at home, we speak mostly Mandarin. And then I think we try to keep it as authentic as possible. I think also because I don't know how to phrase this very well. So basically, like a girl in the film grew up from a relatively low-income family. So like low-income family tend to speak like more Mandarin in Singapore. And then in school, it's like because we are multinational country, so you have to try to, we have a common language and it's our first language, which is English. So it's very normal that we speak English with our classmates.
But I love like when the sisters are being sort of like treated badly and they're cussing their parents out, they're using English, right? She's like saying like asshole or something like that. And,
liar.
Yeah, liar, liar. And I really love that moment.
Yeah, but then you also spot like a bit of dialect within the adults.
Yeah.
Because like back in the past, a lot of during my grandmother's time and my father's time, they speak dialect mostly. So you see different generation, they actually speak different languages.
Was it important to you to maintain that authenticity?
To me, it is because, the languages say so much about the country itself. Yeah. And honestly, dialect is like dying in Singapore. So I wanted to keep it, in the film.
Moving further on in this area of authenticity, your film is a period piece. It's set in 1994. And I'm wondering what things you felt like you needed to put in to sort of indicate that time period. And I guess what were the challenges of trying to portray a 90s era Singapore?
Wow, it's honestly very difficult because Singapore, I don't know when you've been to Singapore. Singapore is like
it was like
always
last year,
changing. It's like it's so hard to find anything that belongs to the 90s, especially like finding a location that still looks 90. So actually, we shoot in Singapore and Malaysia, and anything that we want it to be 90, we go to Malaysia and shoot it. For example, the hospital scene. Yeah. We don't have such like
like old looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really love the hospital in like KL. Yeah. And it looks really fabulous. The color and everything just worked perfectly. The school as well. Yeah, the school, the hospital, and the hawker center. It's also hard to get permission to shoot at certain part of the location in Singapore because it's hard to apply for permit in Singapore, basically.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about putting this film together and shooting it in Singapore and what the process was like. Do you feel like it was easier than what you thought it was going to be or harder than what you thought it was going to be to just make a film in Singapore?
Making film in Singapore is like really, really hard. But maybe it's the same for other countries. But I always feel like I don't want to get backlash if I say that, but like I think the local are not like as supportive compared to other country when it comes to our own local film. That's how I feel, honestly. But then we're also very lucky because we have like a Singapore government to support us. We can apply for grants. I know a lot of other countries, they don't have this kind of like a privilege, but we do. So I guess we are lucky in that way. But finding location is really, really hard in Singapore. And it's always very expensive to shoot in Singapore.
Is that why as well as the authentic 90s era locations, was that also one of the decisions why you outsourced some of the shooting to Malaysia? Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's so much easier, to be honest. And it's relatively cheaper as well.
Yeah. I'm a little curious about this international relationship between Singapore and Japan that you explore quite heavily in this film, where you keep on going back to it. There's like the trip that the grandma really wants to take to Japan, but she's also like, oh no, they're the ghosts. Like I don't want to interact with that. Could you explain to me, is it your own personal history that informs this, or what guided you to explore this?
in 1994, during that time, it's like it's a J-pop period. Yeah, we were very influenced by the Japanese because of the Japan was doing very well in their economy. So like a lot of Japanese tourists were coming to Singapore. I remember my father and mother were like telling me a lot of story about like the Japanese tourists. And then like there were a lot of like Japanese anime and TV show playing on TV. Yeah. So I wanted to bring that in again. And it's because how it was like it happened during my childhood. And I thought like maybe I can keep that element in also. Because now it's K-pop, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought like, oh, maybe it's good to have it in the film. Yeah.
That's great. That iconic hairstyle that a girl has in the film, where does that come from? It's a perfect bowl cut, if I do say so myself. And I know you are sort of like rocking that, hopefully in honor of a girl.
So for the haircut, I mean, that was really like something that happened to me when I was young. Like, in fact, actually, there was a scene in the film, but I took it out. So my grandmother actually brought me to the barber shop instead. Yeah.
Really?
And then I told my grandma that's for men, not for women, not for girls. And then ended up she brought me to the salon and then we have a haircut. But then she wanted me to cut my hair as short as possible. Yeah, and I was really, really sad. I mean, hair to me is like an identity for young girls. And then in Singapore, like we are obliged to cut our hair. And then I know like some girls' school, like you have to keep short hair. So it's actually like, it's like a culture. I don't know, like a lot of, I also like, when the audience watch the film, some of them come to me and say, hey, this is so similar to my childhood because my mother always made me cut really, really short hair. Yeah. So I think hair is something that we can identify, especially for girls. Like it meant so much for us, but then like for my grandma, they always think that, keeping long hair is so troublesome. And some more Singapore is really, really a hot country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love how, I guess, a girl has a very distinct hairstyle, but also Atienne, like in the way that Atienne's hair is styled and also the way that she's dressed. I mean, you do indicate towards it, like some people assume that she's a boy. I wonder where that came from, that's like sort of tomboy-ish look for Atienne.
I mean, I didn't explicitly say it in the film, but there's actually more meaning to it. In the film, you already see how the parents already separated. And then actually, the separation happened a few years ago. And Atienne was really, really young. So she doesn't have really much interaction with the parents, especially the mother. Because like the kids were living with the paternal grandparents, right? And how it really affect Atienne is because she only interact more with the father. So she always wants to be like a father, like the father. That's why her hair is so short. I didn't explicitly say it, but like, how our childhood actually, like it's very subtlety. Some certain subtlety would also tell us about like the environment that we grew up in, like or we are in. My sister, when she was young, she everyone called her tomboy, but actually she likes boy. And she doesn't have this like really very close relationship with mother, as you can tell like in the film. Like whenever the mother says something, then she'll say, yes, I don't like it, or like, hey, I don't like my name. Yeah. So she's very defiant towards the mother in a very subtle way. Like, and yeah, and her relationship with mother is never really close because like there's no such, like they don't really have a much bonding.
Did you talk to your own real life sister during the process of making this? Like, was she aware that you were sort of making a story about your childhood together and the separation that your parents had, but also the separation that you had with your sister for a while?
I only told her after I make this film. And like, I did ask her like, why do you want to become a boy like when you were young? She said, I don't know. But I know she always liked boy because like, she settled down really early. And then she has 3 kids now.
Wow.
So I always know that, not that she wants to become a boy, but she just like boy and want to be a boy, but not really in that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think my parents' separation really affected her. Yeah. Very much. Yeah.
And she also still hasn't seen the film?
She haven't seen the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think she doesn't know because like she never really confront it. It's just like how. Oh, also because like honestly, I mean, I used to have this discussion with my mother and ask my mother why my sister looks so much like a tomboy, and she say like maybe she always wanted a boy, because like in the traditional family, usually they prefer a boy because like the name were named after the boy. Yes. Then for girls, it's like it's a what they say, like they are the water that you pour away.
Yes.
Yeah. So my mother always wanted a boy, and then maybe subconsciously, like my sister became that way. I never really know. I just think there were many factors that caused it, but mainly I feel like it's because my mom didn't get to interact with my sister when she was born.
The ending of your film is, I really think, is a really remarkable scene where a girl just sort of like takes charge of her own self for a moment and sort of leaves the situation, right? I wonder what you want people to come away from your film after that ending and ending the film at that point in that scene.
Actually, the message behind the film is like childhood doesn't shape us for. I mean, childhood shape us for who we are, but it doesn't define us, and it's how we want to move forward with our life and choose what we want to let go. So in the film, initially at the start of the film, you see the mom asking a girl who you want to be with. Is it father or mother? But at the end of the film, it's about her choosing, having that power to choose, like choosing for herself in that way. It's like she chose herself. It's more about like, having that self-love. And she doesn't have to choose like the father or the mother because, they are not like the best for her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's, like me looking back, and even though I don't have a very great childhood, but I will always choose myself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very bittersweet. And I really love how you don't like take the easy route, right? Like I feel like a lot of filmmakers will be like, okay, yeah, let's reunite the family at the end and let's show you a happy family. And I really love how you decided not to and show something more close to reality. For that. So really thank you so much for that ending of the film. It took 10 years to make this film. How long do you think, are you going to make it? Are you in the works of a new feature film? Like how long is it going to be before we see another film of yours?
I don't know, honestly, but like I'm working on another film, but it's like a trilogy of like Aga in a feature format. Because actually I did a trilogy for a short film in the same name as like all the characters named after a girl. And then now I'm like, okay, I think I will do the same for the feature film as feature length as well.
But still based on you, or maybe a little further?
A bit further. So it's more like her growth and also like growing up. Yeah. So the next one maybe I actually been writing, so there are like a few ideas that I have, but I haven't kind of like locked one. So the other one is like her teenage life. Yeah.
I really hope it doesn't take that long. And I hope, I don't know, if you're a Singapore funder listening to this, keep your eye out for this filmmaker. Our last question. So our podcast is called Deep Cut, and we try to focus on lesser known films and filmmakers. For our listeners, do you have any suggestions of a deep cut film that you would recommend to them to watch? Could be yours.
Oh, could be mine? Yeah. No, I don't think I would. I will ask people to watch my film. I feel like this is a bit too thick skin. And I think a lot of people usually ask me what's the inspiration behind like this film. So this is not less known films. The Florida Project,
yes,
by Sean Baker. Wow,
yeah.
That's really my favorite film, and the film is partly inspired by this film. And closer to home, I think maybe you can try watching Amoeba by CU.
CU and I actually, we went to the same university, but not same year. But yeah,
right. Okay, so I think her film was released last year, and it's also screening in HKIFF. Yeah, so maybe that's a film that you can like and go and catch also.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Geck Geck. It was so great to talk to you, and your film is truly fantastic. Everyone go check out A Girl.
Thank you, Wilson.
Thank you so much for tuning into this interview. I hope you get a chance to see this film. It is truly a gem and one of my favorites from the festival. Thank you again to Ang Geck Geck for joining me on the podcast. And thank you to Rainy Tao and Polly Chan from HKIFF, as well as Felix Tsang from Golden Scene for your help with this interview. Thank you for listening to Deep Cut. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. A great way to support us is to leave a review or comment on our episodes directly on Spotify. If you want to chat with us and other fans of Deep Cut, come join our Discord server where we talk about movies, TV, music, and share what we're up to. If you'd like to share a message with us or have business inquiries, feel free to drop us an email at hello@deepcutpod.com. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to support us with a monthly subscription. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters, and a very special thanks to our Patreon Deep Cut Pick supporter, Leah Lai. You can keep up with Deep Cut on Instagram and Letterboxd at Deep Cut Pod. Click the link in our description or go to deepcutpod.com to find links to everything we've mentioned here. Deep Cut is hosted and produced by us, Wilson Lai, Benjamin Yap, and Eli Sands. Our cover art is designed by Justina Yam, and our theme song is composed by the one and only Eli Sands. I'm Wilson. Take care, and we're looking forward to talking about more movies with you next time.